An insider just dropped a major bombshell on one of the unrestricted free agents for the Florida Panthers and where he wants to be. And there are other unrestricted free agents who have come out and stated where they would prefer to be and where they absolutely will not play. And can that man get all of the big unrestricted free agents to re-sign with the Cats after the finals have come to an end? Regardless, win or lose, we will see what Bill Zito is able to do. Guys, thank you for joining me on this episode of Panthers Digest. I am your host, Greg Andrews. As always, hit that subscribe button down below because you need to stay up to date with anything and everything that has to do with your defending Stanley Cup champion Florida Panthers. And for those of you who return to keep watching these videos and have not subscribed yet, subscribe. It's free and you'll be one of the first to know when a new video comes out. Guys, it's big news and good news for Panthers fans. For those of you who aren't Panthers fans, who cares? No, I'm kidding. For those of you who aren't Panthers fans, it still is going to be a big deal for you as well, because we're going to be talking money. We're going to be talking state taxes versus no state taxes and how that does impact unrestricted free agents in terms of where they want to sign. And there's a little bit more that we're going to talk about in terms of just game number 3 tonight, which is looming just hours away. So a lot of excitement in the air. So let's get into this right now on Panthers Digest. Here we go, guys. This is the big news. That's James Myrtle, an insider, has said that Sam Bennett prefers to stay in Florida. He loves it here. The feeling is mutual, obviously, with the Florida Panthers. They want him to stay in Florida and be a Florida Panther for the foreseeable future. So this insider has said he expects Sam Bennett to stay down here. Great news for Panthers fans, horrible news for everybody else. But what we're going to be talking about right now is really, what is the number that he is going to be asking for, as well as his agent, his camp, whatever you want to call it. What is the number going to be? And we're going to talk about, is Sam Bennett really worth it right now? Because the rumors are $10 million a year. A lot of people are saying it's overpriced for a player who hasn't been that consistent. He has had injuries in the past. He's had problems playing through a full season. But his numbers this year have been great, even though he has not had a 30-goal season yet. When he does reach that, obviously, like I said, he hasn't had one yet, so it'll be his first. But he's 28 years old, turning 29 on June 20th. Ironically, if this Stanley Cup Finals gets to a Game 7, that is the date Game 7 will take place. It will be on Sam Bennett's 29th birthday. A little bit of irony there. Maybe some foreshadowing. Who knows? But we obviously know he has 13 goals in the playoffs so far, 12 road goals, which is a record for the NHL playoffs, for a player in the NHL playoffs, And he's had 9 of those goals at even strength, which is really impressive. He has 91 hits in the playoffs, and the Cats get a 57.25% of their 5-on-5 scoring chances when he is on the ice. So he really has picked it up in the playoffs this year. He has done it last year as well, and I'll go over some more numbers moving forward. So he averages right now, in terms of the models that show his averages year in and year out in an 82-game postseason, these are the numbers. 30 goals, 342 hits per 82 post games for his career. Those are the averages that they're assuming in 82 games. Pretty solid numbers for Sam Bennett. He's great. But the thing is this, is there going to be a lot of wear and tear on him because he plays such a physical style of hockey? Like I said, he has missed some time with some nicks, some scrapes, some scratches, not major injuries, but it's still, he's been beaten up pretty bad. And a lot of teams will see that as, hey, is there going to be longevity in this player? Or has he already reached his prime and now it's just downhill from here? That, I think, is a big question a lot of teams are going to ask, and that's why I don't really think a lot of the other teams that are out there will be willing to pay a $10 million a year for a second line forward. I don't think so. Yeah, there's other guys that make that kind of money, but again, he's had injuries in the past. He hasn't really had a lot of full seasons for 82 games. He's turned it up this year in the playoffs, and that's kind of where the eyes have opened for every single team as it, wow, he's really just blossomed into this fantastic goal scorer, and he really has just come out of his shell ever since he became a Florida Panther. Bill Zito brought him in, and every year he has gotten better. So here's a big note. He is top 5 in on-ice expected goals for 5-on-5 out of 29 forwards in the last 5 years for the Florida Panthers. Top 5 in expected goals when he's on the ice for 5-on-5. That says a lot considering some of the forwards that have come through the Florida Panthers in the last 5 years. Out of 29 guys, he's 5th. He's top 5 in there. I don't know the exact placement, but he's top 5. So what I really want to get at here is let's see performance numbers right now. Okay. So offensive ice tilter, yes, he's better on the offensive side than he is on the defensive side. That's to say the least. He does still play pretty solid defense. He's a physical guy, but it happens more on the offensive side. And I don't want to hear people say, "Well, it's the goaltenders and da 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 da." Guys, it's hockey. They're going to run into each other. I know this is the thing. He's a cerebral player. Like him or hate him. The thing people need to understand about him, if you want to say he's dirty, okay, that's your opinion. Do you want to know the reason why calls are not going against him? Yes, he had the one against Skinner in the last game where it was interference. And I do agree. I think it was. In the last video, I said, maybe, maybe not. To me, it looked like he kind of got the stick. The defender got a stick in between his legs and it caused him to fall into Skinner. But hey, it is what it is. But Sam Bennett is a very smart player because of this. He knows the rules of hockey. He understands the rule book. He understands when you're on the ice what you can and cannot do. He's not necessarily getting away with things. He's doing it based upon what is allowed and not allowed in the rule book. When the Oilers were crying foul, and I'm seeing Oilers fans posting stuff like, "Oh, their goal should have been disallowed," and past referee came out and said that it should have been disallowed because he kicked the stick. He did not kick it, guys. A kicking motion needs to be involved for a penalty to be assessed on Sam Bennett for kicking that stick away from the Oiler defender at the time. Sam Bennett, knowing well that if he did not do a kicking motion, but he is looking like he is skating into it, and it's in his path of skating, and he did not even bother stepping over anything, he just skated forward. He glided into it. That is perfectly legal. There was no kicking motion. The same way a goal will be disallowed for a kicking motion, but if you do not make a kicking motion, it deflects off your skate and goes in, that is perfectly legal. Same kind of thing here, guys. That is something you need to understand. That's high hockey IQ. And he's gotten a lot better with his puck handling, obviously. But I just want to get that out in the air and let you guys know that it's a high hockey IQ. So if he does leave the Panthers and he goes to your team, and by the way, he has said that he does not want to play with the Leafs. Flat out, he will not play with the Toronto Maple Leafs. So chances are he'll probably re-sign with the Panthers, and it looks like the Panthers might be able to get him for an average annual value of somewhere between about $6 to $6.5 million a year. And we'll get into the state tax and how that plays into this in just a moment. So I wanted to keep going forward here. He's very proficient at what he does on the offensive side. Among 429 NHL forwards, guys, and they played at least 1,000 minutes on 5-on-5 across the past 3 seasons. Bennett grades 92 on the 92nd percentile in shots on goal per 60, 94th percentile in individual expected goals per 60, 96th percentile in individual scoring chances per 60, and 94th percentile in individual high danger chances per 60. He has been nothing short of just the ideal scoring machine that you would want out on the ice in front of the net. And that's one thing he has done so well, is crashing the net. And when you do that, you're going to run into the goalie. You're going to bump into the defenders. Things are going to happen. He plays that physical style of hockey, knowing that it gets under the goaltender's skin. They hate that when you crash the goal, and you crash the crease, excuse me, and he's playing inside that blue paint right at the edge of it, and he's getting in the goaltender's face. They don't like that. And he does a great job of being there and does it more or less legally, guys. Again, go through the rule book, read through it, prove me wrong. But anyways, in the playoffs, he's better. His game translates to I pick my game up in the playoffs. He's top 12 among NHL forwards in 5-on-5 expected goals per 60 over the last 3 postseasons. Okay, expected goals per 60. That's incredible. He throws an average, above average 9.08 hits per 60 on 5-on-5 in the regular season, and he's picked it up to almost 17 per 60 in the playoffs in the past 3 years. So he is incredibly physical. This is his game. But again, he has not had a 30-goal season yet. He shoots at about 10.5% right now, but his best work is obviously in the playoffs. So one of the things that we're looking at is the projected cap space moving forward. There's a $7.5 million increase going from this year to next year, so that does help some teams. But I wanted to really kind of showcase what is going on with the luxury tax in just a moment. But in terms of where Bennett lands, it's going to be a significant bite out of a lot of teams' salary cap. Leaving Florida, it's going to hurt more teams than help it. If he goes somewhere in Canada or California, the issue is the taxes that he'll have to go through in terms of a $10 million a year salary is not really $10 million a year. State taxes in California and taxes in Canada, are astronomical compared to states like Texas and Florida and Nevada, who don't have any state taxes. That's what makes playing in these states so attractive to a lot of these unrestricted free agents, is their contracts, the dollar amount that they're seeing written into their contract is literally the dollar amount that they will get. Yes, there's other things and stuff that will come out of their paychecks every year, but it is a more desirable place to play because of that. And we'll get into the other free agents in just a moment. But for Sam Bennett, if he stays, that's the beauty here. If somebody offers him, let's say, I don't know, let's say the Canadiens offer him $11 million a year to come up there. Well, the Panthers could still offer him $6.5 million a year and get him because he loves it here. He wants to stay here. He said it. There's a mutual interest between the two. And I think he would stay because after the taxes and everything in Canada, it would almost be the same amount of money he would get every single year. And he gets to stay in Florida. And he loves it, like I said. So it's going to be a win-win for the Florida Panthers right now. They are really in control of when will they sign Sam Bennett. But obviously right now, his focus is on the Stanley Cup Finals, as are with our next free agent that we're going to get into right now, guys. So next up, Brad Marchand mulling his return to Florida, but he is focusing on the Stanley Cup right now, as he should be. But the best thing with Brad Marchand is this. He is not afraid to speak his mind about where he thinks he would like to be and where he doesn't want to be. And right now, this is what he's saying about where he'd like to be. He's talking about right now, talking about free agency and all that. It's not really on his mind. He's focused. The longest you can go is 2 weeks, so you're in the moment that entire time. You can't have your mind in any other place other than right here and now. I've said it so often during this run. You have to enjoy these moments. They don't come often. There's no other thought in my mind right now. That's him talking about when he's been asked about free agency and what he plans to do at the end of the season. So right now, focusing on the cup. But there's a little bit more here. This is what he additionally said about no state taxes. There are teams where that absolutely matters. It doesn't matter for every player, but when you're dealing with guys that have a choice between multiple teams, it obviously plays a part. If you have two teams that are offering the same contract, you're going to pick the team with less tax. And he's absolutely right. He's absolutely right. Why wouldn't you go to a place that's going to offer you the same amount of money and you know you're going to get a lot more by staying in a state where there is no state tax? Or if the other team is offering more money, like I said with the Bennett situation, you just say, all right, I'm going to make the same amount of money, but I can live in a warm weather place, and a team that has been going to the playoffs every single year for the last 3 years, made it to the Stanley Cup final for the past 3 years, excuse me. Why wouldn't you stay here? So little subtle hints that he is dropping on what he would like to do. And there's another guy that I'm sure you just saw because the graphic came up really quickly. It's Aaron Ekblad. He came out flat out and said this: I live and breathe for the Florida Panthers. I bleed for the Florida Panthers. Sorry, I've given my body and everything to this team. I want to keep doing it forever, for as long as they let me come to the rink. I don't think you could be any more flat out honest about where you want to be other than that, right? And this is the thing. Aaron Ekblad, a Panther lifer on edge of free agency. I don't think he's going to go anywhere. I think a lot of people have been calling him into question in this playoffs, especially in this series. There's been a few times that I've even noticed when I've been watching the games. For instance, I can't remember the Oiler player that was making a rush to the near corner of the boards where we were in our defensive third. There was a cameraman right there, and I was seeing Aaron Ekblad coming towards where I believe the puck was, and an Oiler defender was behind him, and it just looked like Aaron Ekblad kind of gave up on the play, knowing that, I mean, I don't know, maybe it was just found a specific way that he was like, all right, you know what, I'm going to wait for him to get here so we could bump bodies, and maybe I could, shoot the puck around the boards or get it to one of my, fellow players somewhere else. I mean, I don't know what he's doing, but he had a clear advantage to getting to that puck first. He could have sent it around the boards. I mean, I don't know what happened, but I've seen several times where that's happened, several times where he's had a kind of a bad pass. I mean, he's a good defender. There are times when he is a great defender. There's times when he's not such a great defender, and he does make some mistakes. It's cost the Panthers in the past, but who else is out there right now that the Panthers could really eye that's not going to break the bank for them? So moving forward with Aaron Ekblad, I don't see it as a bad thing re-signing him, but you can't sign him for $7.5 million a year, especially because he is starting to age too. Again, same kind of question as it was for Sam Bennett. Did he already reach the prime of his career, and is he now on the way down instead of on the way up? Or kind of flatlining and just, not flatlining, but he's kind of reached the peak, and he maybe has another year or two until he starts to come down from it, and maybe his play starts to look a little bit more shaky on the defensive end of things. But he still fits in with this club. The chemistry is there. Guys love him. I don't see why you would say you don't want to have him as a Florida Panther. Okay, again, don't break up the band if you don't have to. Don't do that. Let's not even go there, okay? So, like I said, as per Darren Dreger, he has said that he has no interest in signing. Stan Bennett has no interest in signing with Toronto, and you can see that Aaron Ekblad has no plan of signing anywhere else except with the Florida Panthers. If again things go the way for the Panthers and he got a little bit of that hometown discount. So that leaves me to one more thing to talk about here. Not that. It's this. It's the tax, that the state free tax. There's no state taxes in Florida, in Texas, in Nevada. And it does make it more attractive to these free agents, and GMs and owners have been crying foul, saying that gives those teams that are in those states an unfair advantage during free agency, because when they sign them, they can sign them for less money, and then in a salary capped league, it is an unfair advantage. However, this is Bill Daly, the NHL deputy commissioner. These imbalances have existed forever. There's nothing new here. There are so many reasons why a player can choose to play in a particular location for a particular team that have nothing to do with the tax situation in that market. So I don't expect it's anything we're going to address proactively as part of this collective bargaining negotiation. I agree. It's been around for long enough, the salary cap. The state taxes haven't changed, and the states that don't have state taxes hasn't changed. What would make you think that, there has to be something that needs to be done with it now? The Edmonton Oilers have probably the two best players in the NHL right now, and they're playing on the Oilers. I do know that they have a giant chunk of the salary cap that they're, taking out for their team, but they want to play there. There are guys that play in states that are better than the guys that play in states where there's no state tax. There are. Some of the best players in the world are playing for teams that have state taxes. But I do agree with the argument that building a deeper team is easier for the teams that are in, the states that have no state tax. I do think that is something that is a little bit of an advantage, but in terms of attracting the big time players, that's not going to do it. This has been around long enough. Nothing has changed. People, owners, GMs all need to understand nothing has changed. I mean, yeah, people are starting to get greedier in the league. Players are going to want more money. Absolutely. But I don't think the no state tax really does give a team like the Panthers a leg up. I mean, let's be real with it. Look at some of the teams in the past that have won the Stanley Cup. Are they all from states where there's no state tax? No. So any team can build a solid Stanley Cup champion or Stanley Cup hopeful winning team. It's there. Look at Detroit. Look at Pittsburgh Penguins. Great examples, right? So, anyways, this leads me to a couple of closing things right now, guys. So, the Mitch Marner saga looks like it is pretty much coming to an end for the Panthers. I brought this up on one of my past episodes. They don't look like they have any sort of interest in the man as of right now, because from what we're gathering, as what you're seeing in today's episode, is the Panthers will be hopeful in signing their big three free agents in Ekblad, Marchand, and the biggest one is Sam Bennett. If that happens and it goes in that beautiful, beautiful way of keeping this whole team together, and yeah, there's going to be a few other guys who are free agents as well, who they might have to let go, and they might have to kind of do this little merry-go-round of just shipping new guys in that are free agents and maybe get them at a pretty good cost, maybe later in their careers. And who knows who it's going to be? I mean, we'll find out. I mean, Bill Zito's probably already got a plan, and we don't even know about it yet because the focus is on the Stanley Cup. But the Mitch Marner saga has come to an end. I would say the only way they would even contemplate bringing him in, and again, it'll be $12 or $13 million for him. I don't just no. You don't need a guy taking $12, $13 million right now. The team is not built on bringing in a single massive, or two massively paid individuals. This is more about building a solid, cohesive team that works in unity and can win a Stanley Cup together. It's not about two or three guys coming onto a team and then building around them with these smaller pawns that don't have as much talent, and maybe or maybe not, with the three guys pulling this massive amount of weight, they could win. I am not saying anything about the Edmonton Oilers because they are as deep as the Panthers are. They have talent up and down that roster. That's, again, why I say the state tax or no state tax doesn't mean anything in terms of building a solid Stanley Cup possible winning team. But I digress. I still love the fact that Bill Zito is going to have a plan to keep these guys together. I love the fact that the players are hinting at staying here. They say they love it here. And to me, that's also reaching out to the rest of the league with the other free agents, the other players that are out there. I know Tavares is out there, but he'll probably stay and remain as a Maple Leaf. But when Multiple players are coming out stating that, hey, I love the organization. I love Florida. Sunrise is a great city. Miami's a great town. This is a really cohesive team. I mean, that says a lot about this organization, and it's just going to bring in more free agents. More players are going to want to come to Florida to play hockey for a championship winning team. Win or lose this year, I think the Cats sign all three of these guys so they can try to run it back again next year, regardless, winning or losing. But I'm excited about tonight, guys. That brings me to my last thing that I want to say about my last video. I did have a mistake where I said the Panthers have a 727 road winning percentage. I forgot to add in the win from double overtime that made them not 8-3, but 9-3, which is a 750 road win percentage. So little error right there, but yeah, I won't make that mistake twice. And also, guys, for those of you posting about not getting calls when your team is, the team loses, whatever it is, don't keep crying foul about, well, this guy spears him and there's a cross check here. And this is hockey, guys. There's a cross check on every play. Every time the puck goes into the corner and guys are smashed up against the boards fighting for the puck, there's a cross check every time. The referees are not there to call every single infraction that is happening. They are there to be the moderators of the game. So if guys are doing it to each other and it's kind of this even keel thing, unless there's an absolutely blatantly hard, ridiculous cross check to the back of a guy that sends them to the ice or his face goes into the boards, then they're going to call it. Or a massive hit in the middle of the ice and the puck wasn't even near a guy and the guy gets injured, they're going to call it. You already saw they called the penalty against Bennett for goaltender interference on Skinner in the last game, even though it took him about what felt like hours. I know it wasn't hours, that's over exaggerating, but it just felt like forever. And they're like, oh, yeah, you know what? Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did. I mean, it took forever. I thought the arm would go up immediately if it really was there, but a little discussion. Did you see the stick between his legs? Did he get tripped? Was he pushed? Was he this? I talked about goaltender interference on one of my previous episodes that if the player is pushed into the goalie, if he's tripped into the goalie, if there's any sort of defensive contact with the offensive player that makes him fall into the goaltender or get into the crease and nudges the goaltender that knocks him off of the possibility of saving a puck or a shot, then there is no goaltender interference. A lot of these calls sometimes go 50-50, but the referees err on the side of caution to make sure that there is some sort of control in the game, because if they don't in certain times, it can get out of their hands and it gets ugly. And that's when players get hurt. And don't say anything about Bennett with the elbow to the head to Stolarz. I hate people keeping coming back and putting comments in here stating that he got hit in the face with a puck. Those helmets are not, even a football helmet, if you wore it and it had a goalie face mask on it, it would still give you a little bit of a daze. It would knock you a little bit. A goaltender's mask is not going to absorb all of that hit. If it hits you in the right spot, it's going to concuss you. That is what happened to Stolarz first. The little nudges, things like that can happen after you suffer one concussion and another follows up within a short span of time. It feels like you're hit by a boulder. Believe me, I know. I've had it happen to me. I played football. Okay, so I've gotten hit before and I know what that feeling is like. You feel a little dazed when the first one, but you think you're fine, and you take another small little tap or whatever it is, and then those symptoms just become tenfold. It's happened. Ask anybody who's had multiple concussions, they will tell you the same thing. So don't keep knocking Bennett. He's a cerebral player. His hockey IQ is off the charts. He knows what is legal, what is illegal. He's not intending to hurt anyone. Guys, this is the game of hockey. This isn't figure skating. It's barbaric in a way. In the most beautiful of ways, this game is. It's physical. That is the game of hockey. If you're going to keep crying foul about, well, my team didn't get this call, every team should get 100 calls in every single game. I challenge you to do this. If you are going to go that way and say, the referees just are not calling calls for us and this and that, and that, the game is not won by one call or missed call. There are multiple plays in every single game that have it go the course and direction that it has for whatever team if they win or lose. It could be a puck bouncing off the post. It could be a save that just nicks off the goaltender's glove. It could be a big hit that dislodged the puck when it was a one-on-one situation and there was a defender against an offender and then a goalie's there and the defender did a great job of just knocking the guy on his butt. There are multiple plays in a game, just like in any sport, that are the reason why a team wins or loses. It is not one missed call or one made call, guys. Even if it's a 1-point game in basketball and the guy misses or makes the last shot, there are other plays that brought it to that point. So I tell you this, watch an NHL hockey game that does not have a team you hate or a team you love in it. And tell me, how many times do you see a cross check or a possible trip or a high stick or an elbow, anything in that game, so that way there is no biased opinion that you will have? I can guarantee you, you're going to see so many of them not called because the refs have to let them play. It's the game of hockey. It's a physical game. Understand that. Be on the same wavelength as the rest of us. You could be as passionate as you want about your team. I get it. But I don't see, when I'm going on my feeds and I'm researching, I'm looking at people's comments and things like that, or what people are posting. When the Panthers lose, I'm not seeing a million people crying foul about calls missed, things like that. I've made a couple of opinionated pushes about things where I was like, well, they should have had a call there, but you know what? The team lost. That's all that matters. The call wasn't there. Let it go. If you're going to keep crying foul, it just shows that you're just don't be a sore loser. It's the game of hockey. It's a sport. It's a game. Love it. That's the thing I love about this. Win or lose, be passionate for your team, but don't be to the point of being just a crybaby about it and being a sore loser. It's a game. It's a sport. That's why we love it. It's entertainment. Enjoy it, guys. And don't fight. You could have your opinion. That's great. But if it wasn't called, it wasn't called. And don't post fake stuff. I read a great article that was hilarious to me about what has happened. Matthew Tkachuk. There was a picture of Matthew Tkachuk. Dirty. He was cross-checking guys in the head and there were no calls and this and that. And then in the article, it says Brady Tkachuk. Florida Panthers, Brady Tkachuk. Come on, guys. Let's be real. Stop posting stuff just to light a fire under someone's butt and get them to start picking things off and just putting gasoline to a flame. Don't do that. But anyways, guys, the game tonight is going to be epic. I think this is going to be one of the loudest crowds in Amerant Bank Arena that we've ever had. Make sure to wear your Panthers red, cheer loud, bring your rats, and go Panthers, guys. Let's go get them tonight, baby.